guys, welcome back to another episode of whatever we end up calling this. We're back with another common and rare only deck. This time, the spreadsheet calls it Tenyi Heroes, or as I like to call it, Heroes? Shouts out to Deck Devil Yu-Gi-Oh! For in the deck. Once again, I will include the spreadsheet down in the description. This deck is based around applying the powers of the elemental heroes with the powers of the Tenyi. An interesting combination that I'm not sure will work as well as I think, but let's get into it. Starting us off are the elemental heroes, a series of warrior-type monsters based around fusion. Our normal monsters are Avion, a wind with 1000, 1000, 1000 attack and 1000 defense. Percentatrix, a fire with 1200 attack and 800 defense. Clayman, an earth with 800 attack and 2000 defense, and Sparkman, a light with 1600 attack and 1400 defense. These are used to combine to make various fusions, which we'll get to later. Supporting them are Elemental Hero Prisma with 1700 attack and 1100 defense, who can reveal a fusion monster in our deck and send one fusion material to the grave and copy its name, and Blazeman, no relation to Sparkman, who when normal or special summon gets his polymerization to fusion summon, and lets us send an elemental hero from our deck to the grave to copy its attack and defense. We can only use one effect of those per turn, so mostly just going to be used for polymerization searching. Obviously there's polymerization to fusion summon. What will we be making? Well, that's a good question. We will be making Elemental Hero Flame Wingman using Avion and Burstinatrix, Phoenix Enforcer using the same material, Thunder Giant, Rampart Blaster, and that's it, because Tempest is just here for show. Fleeing Wingman, when he destroys a monster by battle, gives us the ability to burn for its attack points. Thunder Giant turns any card in our hand into a discard to destroy a monster with less attack than him. Rampart Blaster can attack from defense if our opponent has no monsters. And Phoenix Enforcer can't be destroyed by battle. Why are we making these relatively underwhelming fusions? Well, for favorite hero, of course. We can only equip it to a level 5 or higher hero, which is why we need the fusions. And while we control a monster in our field zone, our monster gains attack points equal to its defense and can't be targeted. At the beginning of the battle phase, we can of course play a field spell, and when we destroy a monster by battle with this card, we can send it to the grave to make our monster attack again. So the idea is put this on a hero like, say, Thunder Giant. Thunder Giant will bump up to 3900, and we can discard a card to destroy anything with less than 3900 original attack points. And if we say destroy a monster with Flame Wingman, we burn for that damage, we can send favorite hero to the grave and attack again. The question though is, what field spell are we activating? Well, of course, Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi! A field spell that says all of our non-effect monsters, aka not our fusions, are unaffected by our opponent's monster effects, and if our opponent special summons a monster while we control a face-up non-effect monster, we draw 2. Seems a little confused, trying to turbo out a fusion and then play a field spell that doesn't work with our fusions. But what are the Tenyi, you might be asking? Well, they are a series of worm monsters with effects that don't do anything unless we control a non-effect monster, and they can special summon themselves so long as we don't control an effect monster. This deck seems confused. So, our first one is Adhara, our level 1 Earth monster, who can special summon itself if we have no effect monsters. I will stop mentioning that now. And if it's in our hand or grave, we can banish it to recycle any Tenyi to our hand. Shithana, when it's in the grave, if one of our monsters is destroyed, we can banish it to destroy one monster opponent controls and put our our non-effect monster back again. Mapura, who, if one of our non-effect monsters is targeted, we can banish to negate that. Vashuda, who is probably our most proactive card in the deck, who can banish itself if we control a non-effect monster to return one card our opponent controls back to their hand. And Ashuna, who can banish itself to place any of our Tenyis onto the field, so essentially trading out for whatever effect we need at the time. Lastly, we have Heavenly Dragon Circle, which lets us tribute a worm to add any worm from our deck to our hand, or if we tributed a non-effect worm, we can special summon it. Later, we can also banish it from the grave to add a Tenyi from our deck to our hand. Mostly, it's kind of similar practice to Ashuna, discarding a card, getting rid of a card we have on the field to recycle for whatever effect we need. In addition to the Tenyi, we have their Link monsters, Monk of the Tenyi, who has no effect and requires one non-Link Tenyi, and Berserker of the Tenyi, who requires 2 monsters, including any Link monster, you know, like Monk. In addition to these cards, we are running just a handful of other cards. Destiny Hero Drawhand is a revival monster who can be used with our Links. Torrential Tribute, which we saw last time, destroys everything, and Dino-Miscus, where we can discard a card to banish anything. In addition, we are running a couple XCs, like Diamond Crab King, who can switch from 3000 defense to attack, and when he attacks, goes back to defense. He can be made with any 2 level 4s, so Clayman, Sparkman, Prisma, Blazeman, etc. Super Mechal Quantum Beast Ouroboros, who can detach a material to flip a monster face down. Number 70 Malevolent Sin, who can detach a material to banish a monster, and when he attacks, he gains 300 attack points. And Exosister Esophiel, who can banish material to return 1 monster opponent controls back to their hands. Lastly, we have a couple of utility links. Wonder Driver, who lets us target a polymerization in our grave if we special summon an elemental hero to a zone he points to and return it to our hand. Okay, but he requires 2 heroes, so how are we going to do that? Extra Hero Infernal Devicer, who lets us reveal a hero in our extra deck and add 2 of its fusion material to our hand. That's why we're running Tempest, is it gets us Avion and Sparkman. Once again, requires 2 heroes on the field, so if we're putting those out there, it's usually going to be a fusion, and we don't want to lose that. And lastly is Dread Decimator, a Link 3 who requires 2 or more heroes, making at least 3 arrows, and gives all of our heroes he points to an extra 100 attack points for every hero in our grave. Once again, how are we getting here? This deck is a little confused. I don't think it lines up nearly as well as Magical Dolls did, but at the same time, Tenyi is a very powerful engine in common and rare, so who knows? Either ways, let's give it a shot and get into the duels. Alright, so jumping into our first game, I think our strategies are very simple. Either A, turbo out a fusion, or B, turbo out Draco Berserker. Either ways, try to do that as fast as possible and maybe set the field spells we can. We're starting off with a Clayman and some Tenyis, and a Polymerization Ham means we can potentially make a Thunder Giant, and he stops with an 1800 attack point monster on field. Drytron he is not. So we're going to set a Dino-Miscus and summon Ashuna into Tenyi, Vishuda to the field, Ashuna to put Shithana on field, and that gives us pretty much a good amount of protection. We'll summon our Berserker and beat over 1800. Now we're hoping to draw either Sparkman or Bracinatrix, maybe even Prisma, and next turn we can make our fusion, and he summons Maiden with Eyes of Blue. I'm not sure he knows what he's doing here. We're going to special summon Vishuda to the field, use Dino-Miscus to discard one of our polymerizations away. This will trigger Blue Maiden with Eyes of Blue to summon Blue Eyes. We now use the Vishuda from the grave to put that back in hand, and we attack with our our Worm Spirits, and that seems like it's going to tie it up pretty well, because next turn we can just turn Vishuda into... Oh! Yes, that is going to be it. Kind of debating if I want to even keep that, but I think we keep Drytron, so at this point we got to keep this one. Moving into the next duel. Alright, well, game 1 was pretty easy, but as we saw last time, just because we win the first game doesn't necessarily mean we win the second. And I think we're going to see that as we jump in here. Opening up with Prisma and Sparkman, that's and favorite here, that's pretty good. All we need is a polymerization, and then we have a Thunder Giant with 2900. We'll start off by specialing Vishuda in defense mode. No point in making a Monk if we don't have anything to return. And the 2500 defense is nice. He sets 2 and passes. We'll draw a Torrential and pass it back. Unfortunately, he has Twin Twisters, discarding a Mizuki to revive back any zombie later and taking out our Torrential. Flipping Goblin Zombie and using Ash Blossom as an actual tuner? What? He special summons out Robbie's Zombie Necro and uses Goblin Zombie to search out Shinigami Solitaire, which can get him any zombie with 0 defense from his deck, which is most of them. Destroying over Vishuda, he goes in, we draw Dragon Circle of the Tenyi, we will special summon Vishuda, use Heavenly Dragon Circle to search out Ashuna. Ashuna special summon out a Monk the Tenyi. We will now summon out... Oh, actually first we're going to use Vishuda to bounce. He uses Solemn Strike to negate, unfortunate. We'll summon out Prisma, use Ashuna to special summon out Shithana again, and go into Berserker Turbo. Berserker's just big enough to beat over Red Eyes Zombie Necro, so as long as he has nothing else, we are fine. After all, it's not like he has a revival card and grave, and just searched a card that can special summon out any monster with 0 defense. Alright, activating Zombie World, he's going to send out Solitaire to summon Unizombie, who can send any zombie from his deck to the grave, including Glow Bloom. Glow Bloom will turbo out Valordrak, who, when any zombie uses this effect, vanishes. So there goes our Monk, and he can discard Mizuki to revive back Goblin Zombie for reasons. Tune those two together to make Shiranui's Shogun Saga, who can banish a zombie from his grave to gain its attack points, boosting it up by 1300. And Mizuki Engrave again to revive back that zombie Necro for OTK. Unfortunate, but not much we can do about it. Alright, maybe we'll have better luck in the third duel, but, I mean, it's Heroes Tenyi. Who knows? Alright, I've seen this pattern before. We win the first game and we lose the second one. I've seen this one before. I know what happens next. After all, surely this deck can't be any better, can't be stronger than zombies. Alright, we open up with Clayman and Sparkman again. Where's our polymerizations? Torrential and Dynamiscus, and I think that's all we're going to do for now. Our opponent, on the other hand, is going to activate Fiend Sanctuary, getting a Metal Fiend token. Interesting. And a Fiend Sanctuary. And another one? Alright, we're going to Torrential that. I don't know what you're doing, but we need to stop this. And that's all he had. Are you feeling okay? Well, getting a little ballsy, we're going to summon Flawless Perfection, use Shithana to make Monk, and we're going to normal summon Sparkman, because get aggressive while you get a special summon, when we're going to get a +2. We're going to attack, and he uses Guardian. Oh, it's Egyptian Gods. That makes sense. Guardian Slime will gain attack defense points equal to any monster that attacks it, first time per turn, so we can't kill it this turn. He attributed it off for Egyptian God Slime. Ooh, that's impressive. 3,000 attack points, and with Mount of the Bound, it wouldn't be targetable, so we're going to banish it now. He uses Ancient Chant to search out Winged Dragon of Ra. He'll now use Millennium Revelation to send it from his hand to the grave to search out Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn to revive back the Guardian Slime? Tribute Guardian Slime for, oh, another Egyptian God Slime. Well, unfortunately, you only get the Pot of Greed once per turn. So I guess that'll beat over our Monk of the Tenyi, but it's a good thing we had Shithana. Mount of the Bound Creator will also trigger, burning us for an additional 1,000. We'll revive back our Monk and try to destroy Egyptian God Slime, but Mount of the Bound Creator stops that. Millennium Revelation will go to the grave for reasons? You couldn't polymerization at that point, right? We will use Ashuna and Clayman, turbo into a Sophiel, and we will now use Ashuna to go into Monk, use Ashuna to search out Vashuda, and link away our 3 Tenyis for Berserker. Not big enough to beat over Egyptian, but big enough to crash, but we don't need to. Vashuda bounce back Mon of the Bound, and a Sophiel put back the Egyptian God Slime. We'll attack with these two and drop him down to just 1,300. Oh, we're so close. After all, what could he do? Ancient Chant to add Winged Dragon of Ra back to his hand, and that's all she wrote, because he's only got Mount of the Bound Creator and Egyptian Gods and Winged Dragon of Ra. So this turn we'll pick it up, and we're just gonna punch him for 3,000 for game. Wait, Heroes won? Alright, we're back, and I'm still a little confused. Heroes weren't supposed to win. This was, like, this doesn't make any sense. I had even had to change the deck to add Prisma. Well, I guess that just goes to show you that, any deck can win in Silver, because, I mean, when you're running Winged Dragon of Ra Turbo and 1,800 attack point Dragon, normal summon. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I don't think this deck is better than Magical Dolls. I just think you got better matchups. That said, there are some impressively powerful combos. Once again, Tenyi's going into a 3,000 attack point that can bounce, destroy when it's destroyed and while reviving itself, and has targeting protection is really good. Favorite hero, if you can combine it with any of your heroes, like say Drawing Polymerization, gives you powerful monsters like 3,300 attack point double summon attacker, 4,500 attack point monster that can attack from defense mode, or a 3,900 that can turn any of your Tenyi monsters in hand into destruction. All these are impressively powerful combos if you draw into them, but right now I don't think this deck is nearly consistent enough. With that said, I guess it's still our first win of the series, so I guess we'll take it. Next time we'll be back with another warrior deck that focuses on fusion, but this time I think it'll go a little bit more focused on the fusion. Until next time, I hope y'all have a good one. Goodbye.